everyone, and welcome to Whose Life Is It Anyway? A show where everything is made up, but the points actually do matter. If any of that sounds a little familiar, well, that's because yes, this is an improv comedy podcast where all the stories you're about to hear were completely made up on the spot, guided and prompted by real improv comedy games. How does it work? Well, two players are tasked with having a podcast-like interview or conversation, making it all up as they go, but there's a third guest who can interrupt at any time and give them new rules or new directions for their conversation via a list of different improv games and guidelines. How do you win? Well, if a player breaks character or simply doesn't follow the rules of the game they're in at the time, the other person is awarded a point, and at the end of a 20-minute time limit, the guest with the most points wins, and of course, becomes known to the world as a comedic genius. So, without any further ado, let's find out who's making stuff up in this episode.
It tastes like you're drinking gasoline, doesn't it?
All in the middle, I just pass out.
Great, do that, because I would win.
Sugar.
That's the part that nobody knows, is that it's actually gasoline.
Yeah.
Yes, I do that so I can sabotage the people. When I'm playing the improv games, I'm like, hey, you should totally drink a Mountain Dew.
Ross is like, ooh, a free drink fridge.
I don't like
poisoned
Mountain
all of them.
Just drink the Mountain Dew. Well, this episode is not sponsored by Mountain Dew, sadly.
Oh, one day.
Without sponsors, I think we can still make the show happen, though.
That's the dream.
What do you say? What do you say? Do you want to do this?
No.
You wanna
I want sponsors.
All right, guys. Well, I was going to introduce you to the show, but I guess I'm not going to. Leah doesn't want to do it, and you are in the captain's chair for this episode, so you do.
So we're just not doing it.
We're just not doing it. You can sit here for the next 20 minutes and watch us sit.
Technically,
That's
I
what
lost
we're
rock,
doing.
paper, scissors. I'm not supposed to be the one doing
That's
this.
true, but Taylor did winner's choice, and he put you in the captain's chair.
It's like football, you know?
Is that how football
Or like
works?
cook's choice, when you go to school lunch and you decide to be ballsy and you let them choose what you're going to eat for lunch.
Did that happen?
They'd always
Did
give
you
me
do
their
that?
shoes, so
Yeah, they just put soup in their shoes and gave it to him, and he was like,
I stopped going to that school very soon
That's why he moved schools. Folks, welcome to the show. This is Whose Life Is It Anyway, where everything is made up, but the points do matter. Yes, that is a direct ripoff of another show. Clearly, this is an improv comedy podcast. What more do you want from me? We're going to find out if I'm a little bit better at making stuff up than names and stuff like that. But to get there, I must first tell you who is on this episode with me, sitting across the table from me, the one I'm going to be playing against, the one I got to try and make stuff up with, Taylor Lumley, back on the show. Taylor, welcome.
I don't know my alphabets.
Well, Leah, play alphabet. Make sure you play alphabet. Speaking, what did I say? Leah, you're in the captain's chair. You are in charge around these parts in this episode. Leah Ingram, back on the show.
Hello, it is I, the boss.
The boss. You are the boss. And so, if you're new around here, if you don't know what we're about to do, Taylor and I are going to be tasked with making up our own podcast interview right off the top of our heads. But while we're trying to make even a little bit of sense out of that, Leah, in the captain's chair, is going to have this cheat sheet of actual improv comedy games and prompts that she is going to give us and interrupt us with throughout that conversation. And remember when I said the points do matter? Well, if one of us mess up and one of us just don't follow the rules, the other person is awarded a point. And at the end of a 20-minute time limit, one of us is going to win and one of us is going to lose. And it's my show, so I better win. So, I'm going to say, so, to get us started, Leah, you must first assign us our roles. Which one of us is the interviewer? Which one of us is the interviewee?
So we're going to go even a little bit more in depth with this.
I'm already scared. Okay.
So Taylor is going to be the one being interviewed. So now Taylor is an astronaut who has been up in space for 3 years with no human contact. The only thing that he had to keep him going was Ross's podcast about space with incorrect information.
Oh, perfect.
no.
Just like real life.
So we're yeah. So you've listened to What You Don't Hear? You've listened to the space episodes? Okay. Wow.
And so
we're starting off kind of maybe a little bit angry at each other. Well, you're angry at me, technically, but okay. All right. Whenever you start the timer, we'll get into it.
Are we ready?
I think.
I'm gonna try real hard.
And begin.
So I just have to say, I really, really appreciate you being down to do this. You're probably the coolest guest that I've had on this. Big fan of space, big fan of the stars and everything. And I know, I mean, you were in it. You were up there for a while, and I'm excited to have you on.
Oh yeah, no problem. By the way, Tugg Gluckhime, famous astronaut here.
Sorry, I should have interviewed. I should have introduced
totally
you.
okay.
I'm kind of new to this. Tugg Gluckhime, astronaut. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. It's just, yeah.
Totally
Okay.
fine.
But so, I mean, I just kind of want to get right to it. You know, I have been fascinated with space and just everything for years, right? That's why I started this podcast, okay?
Yeah.
I just want to know, I mean, how did you do it? I mean, you were up there for so long.
Well, it's pretty easy. I was up there for a while because they actually forgot about me.
Change.
They actually forgot to send me pants.
Change.
They actually forgot to send me other people to be on the mission with.
Really?
So it was 3 years, and it was very long because I was by myself in the cold recesses of space. And honestly, I just want to say, you know, big fan of the podcast, not a fan of the misinformation, but I love the podcast. One of the reasons I came on is most of what you're saying about space is totally incorrect. But
So we're gonna pause, and we're actually gonna go into a game here where it's going to be yes and. Ready and go.
I just wanted to know how you felt about having one of the worst space podcasts I've ever heard.
Yes, and I understand why you would say that, but I've been really doing my research a lot. I've tried.
Yeah, and I love the spirit of it. It's mostly just working my entire life to be an astronaut and knowing that you're just wrong about everything. That's really hurting my feelings. And my bones hurt because I'm not used to gravity yet. So I've got both of those things just really bringing me down on the inside.
Yeah, and I knew the bone thing because I like I said, I know a lot about space.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say you know a lot about space. But I would say that you know a little about space, and I mean little.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the idea, right? We're whimsical. We want to learn more and more. So, you know, if I start the show off knowing a little bit, I can have people like you on and I can learn a lot more.
No.
I love that this astronaut's hatred for this person running this podcast. It was enough for you to say, nah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep it in character. No.
I don't even
That is
count.
a point for Ross. Our very
good
first
point.
point
Yeah.
has been
Cheers.
awarded
Yes.
to Ross, which for some reason I don't want to award you points because your character. I'm also mad at you.
Damn. Everyone doesn't
Everyone,
like
hey, you know what?
person who's-
Tugg's getting a movie out of this called Everyone Loves Tugg Gluckhime.
All
So-
right, so
I just love space.
we're gonna head back into normal interview as you were.
But I'm trying to learn. You know, I've never really said once on this podcast that I knew everything. It's just
Change.
I've never once had anyone like you on this podcast to tell me.
Change.
I've never even done a podcast before. Okay?
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Well,
I don't
mean,
know what you were listening to up there, but it wasn't me, okay?
I think there actually then has been some kind of mistake. I may
Right.
have gotten put on the wrong podcast, but hey.
All right, so I'm gonna go in and we're gonna change this to a who's line now, where each of you get 2 lines that you are going to have to implement into your speech
Okay.
in the next little while here, while you discuss what exactly has been going on here.
Please don't be upside down.
Okay, so I understand, you know, there must have been some confusion. I mean, it sounds like your kind of entire mission was just made of confusion.
Oh, it was a
right?
mess.
But I've been studying it from the start, okay? I know your entire career,
Mm-hmm.
right? Big fan, okay? I actually made a scan of your yearbook photo, and I have kept your quote from that yearbook with me forever and ever, and I just want to share it with you now because I just love it. I can't believe I'm sitting with you and saying it, but I just remember that yearbook, your wonderful photo sits there, and right under it, it says, if you want to get in these pants, you need to take a punch. And it's just something, I've kind of lived by that, you know?
Yeah,
I'm single,
absolutely.
but, you know, I live by it.
And you know, I live by that too, and that's how I became an astronaut.
It's so
I mean,
cool.
if you want to get in this spacesuit, you got to be able to take one of Five-Finger Mary's right to the jaw.
Is that a part of astronaut training?
No, actually. It was something that my agent, by the way, you're fired, told me before he got me on the podcast. See, he called me up and he was like, hey, I know you've been listening to this podcast the whole time you're up there. We're also trying to get you all the money that NASA owes you.
Change.
We're also trying to get you all the money your ex-wife owes you.
Change.
We're also trying to get you all the money that Legoland owes you. So they had a Lego set of me. Buy it.
I
don't
bought
get
it.
all the money.
I own it.
I have no money from it.
Right over there.
So, but my agent, he calls me up. He's like, hey, we got a paying podcast for you. And then he just went on a spiel about what it was about. And then he gave me this great piece of advice. And he said, I'm too drunk for this shit. And essentially, I was like, hey, man, if you're that drunk, why are you driving while you're calling me? And then I hung up, and now I'm here.
That's a pretty big deal for your agent to just kind of want to give up like that
Mm-hmm.
while simultaneously making you deals. But also, I also have to say I'm not really sure about the money thing. But honestly, that doesn't matter. I don't want to trail, this isn't a business podcast. It's all about space, right? And
Okay.
right? That's okay. Okay, anyway. The thing is, I remember when I was a kid, okay? I want to tell you a little bit about me if that's okay. When I was a kid, I remember I wanted to be you so bad. I wanted to be an astronaut, right? I wanted to be just like you. And I remember I was playing in my toy room one day, and
Change.
I remember I was playing in my front yard one day.
Change.
I remember I was playing in the middle of an active construction site. And my dad was there looking for me. I had been missing for a couple days. And my dad comes and he's, Junior, what are you doing, right? And he came up to me and I was like, Dad, I want to be an astronaut. He's like, why the fuck are you at a construction site? And I was like, the machines. But then he looked at me, and this was another lesson that from that day I realized I might have been wrong place, wrong time, but I knew I wanted to be an astronaut because he looked at me and he said, it's not a doll, it's an action figure. And that's what I knew, all the things that I was playing with, I knew they were action figures, and I knew that meant being an astronaut was cool.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, kid. Being an astronaut is pretty cool. Until you get stuck in space for 3 years because of a mission snafu, is what they want to call it, and they don't want to pay me my money. So, I know I'm back here. I know my bones hurt constantly.
Sorry about that.
I know now that I'm not getting paid for this podcast. So, I mean, I'm here to answer any of your questions. Also, I mean, shout out to NASA. Thank you for ruining my life. And you're going to be hearing from my lawyers. So
That's fair.
I try and keep myself centered, though. I remember what my grandma used to say, and it was, want to help me steal from that blind guy over there?
Your grandma used to say that?
She did. She really had it out for blind people. And that's how I got so good at running. And as you know, being interested in being an astronaut, having good cardio is a part of that.
Huge. A lot of running on the moon and in space stations and stuff, right?
Yeah, and the fact that there's very little oxygen that I was able to breathe for 3 years.
Okay, so I do kind of want to, what did you do during the 3 years you were up there? I mean, you were all by yourself. You're getting these calls, then you get the money, you don't get the money, all that sort of stuff. What do you do? What do you spend time doing?
So now we're actually going to switch into the game, if you know what I mean. And go.
I feel like you can do a lot up there with 0 G's, if you know what I mean.
There was a lot of time spent crying, and if you know what I mean.
Did you meet any extraterrestrial life and get to know them, if you catch my drift?
The only thing I met was these two hands right here, if you know what I'm saying.
Fuck it. I don't know how to respond to that.
We are now all tied up,
What
my
am I
friend.
supposed to say? What, did you jack off, if you know what I mean?
I blasted off, if you know what I'm saying.
I should have said, oh, so you were doing a lot of blasting. Damn it.
That was a missed opportunity
Damn
right
it.
there. That's what we call a missed opportunity.
Shit.
So you can go back into normal podcast mode, except we are going to have accents for the time being.
So, I understand you're jacking off a lot in space. I get it. You're up there, you're alone, not a lot to do. Did you ever see anything weird?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of weird stuff up there. Yeah, one time I saw the entire Great Wall of China. Just, it looked like somebody had dumped chocolate pudding all over it.
Did you ever... I can't remember where I'm from!
All right, that's actually going to be a point for Taylor, I feel like.
Yeah!
Shit.
Who's scoring the points this time, Mom?
I don't think that Taylor really knew where he was from either. I think it changed a couple times, but I was
think
letting
you...
it go.
I wanted to start talking like this for some reason.
It's hard, right?
Oh, God.
All right, back into normal podcast mode. We're about halfway through.
So you could see just, everything from up there. My question is, the space station isn't that far from Earth. Why was there never like a rescue mission or anything?
Well, first and foremost, they totally forgot I was up there.
Change.
They totally forgot. Shit. I was like, I got it.
So I'm going to give Russ a point for
Yes!
I think that counts. as
I
a
think
point,
that
yeah.
counts.
The comeback.
Getting a little tripped up
This
there.
is it, the comeback.
We're
We
still
start
tied
now.
up.
We start now. Oh, shit. I wanted the comeback. Don't tell me the points.
Okay. Sorry.
I want to wait for the
I
end.
wanted to be like, an announcer.
Oh,
But,
okay.
But yeah,
All right.
we'll go back in, and you know what? Just to make it a little bit more competitive, so maybe we'll forget about where the points are at. We're gonna go into number of words here. All right. And so Taylor, you're gonna have 2.
Okay.
Ross, you're gonna have 4. And go.
So just up there?
They forgot.
Nobody showed up ever?
Space big.
How big exactly space?
Real big.
Ever see an alien?
Yes, once.
How big was Alien?
Not big.
What did you do? With it near you?
Yeah, sad.
How did it react?
Not good.
Wait.
Hands rough.
Are we at war?
With aliens?
What else would it?
All right, that's.
No, I sneezed. That's why that sentence stopped. I sneezed. My character sneezed.
Okay, all right. I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide.
Not yet.
But is there potential?
Yes, maybe.
I need more info.
Space big.
Okay. Change subject.
Suit small.
Go back to masturbation.
Jack off?
Jacking off, precisely it.
Hands rough.
Where did Alien go?
Back home?
Does semen float in?
No. We're not doing that again. I let it slide the first time.
I couldn't say does it float in space.
Space big.
I need more info. Space big.
That was like
Started off this podcast.
At least probably 3 of his responses were space big or hands rough.
I just love the idea of this astronaut being angry at me for not having information about space, and that's what he does. Back to normal?
Actually, with that being said,
Uh-oh.
we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna step in here.
I'm not getting
and
breather room.
switch your roles because I feel like maybe you do know more about space than you think. So now, Ross is going to be the astronaut.
Who jacks off with aliens.
And Taylor is going to be the seemingly clueless podcast host. And begin.
So, kid, I know you got a lot of questions, okay? But, I mean, yes, straight up, I'll be honest, all right? I was up there jerking off, masturbating, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how much you can say on your podcast.
It's a long 3 years. I get it.
But, you know, yes, did I meet extraterrestrial life? Yes, I did. You know what? I'll give you something big in your podcast. Did I make new forms of extraterrestrial life? Yes, I did.
Change.
Did I start an entire new alien race when I was up there? Yes, I did.
Well, okay, so if you started a whole new alien race, were they from like the 15th planet in the solar system?
Well, here's the thing. I don't really want to give you that information because I'm kind of thinking of going back up there and living with them.
Why would you do that?
Have you seen the state of the planet recently? I mean, come on.
No,
There's podcasts like this that are happening on here. People are clueless.
No, my mom makes me stay inside in the basement.
We are going into the alphabet game here.
Okay.
And we are going to begin with the letter L. And begin.
Look, I just don't really know what I'm doing. I can't really read too well. I'm sorry. But you were saying you jacked off a bunch of aliens and you're going to start a new alien race?
Man, what is the point of your show?
Not really having a point is kind of like the point.
Oh, okay. So now you tell me that.
Probably. I just wanted to meet my hero. I don't even have any other episodes. You're my first episode.
Questions? Anything else to follow this up with? I mean, you got a world-famous astronaut here. Like,
Right.
I survived in space by myself. You got anything else?
Really, my only other questions are like, so, space is big, and I want you to you were up there for so long. Like, did you ever have any moments where you just wanted to kind of let go and float off into space?
Seriously? You think I'd give up that easily?
All right, that is a point for Ross. All right. So now we are down to the last few minutes of this episode. I'm going to pause here. And so I am going to really quick use my host power here as a podcast producer.
Okay.
And so what we're going to reveal is that we don't actually know this kid's name, do we? Lil Timmy or whatever the fuck. I'm not going to name you, but
Podcast host.
actually brought what's his name?
Tugg.
Tugg Gluckhime.
Tugg Gluckhime.
He brought
World-famous astronaut.
the world famous astronaut here because the reason that he's his biggest fan is he found out that Tugg is in fact his father.
Oh, shit. Okay.
All right.
Are we still switched roles, or are we switching
still-
back? What do we want to do?
We are still where we left
We've
off.
stayed
Okay.
switched.
Okay.
All right, and begin.
Kid, Tom, if you're watching this, you're not my agent anymore, okay? I'm done. But
I'm
just
sorry,
don't,
Tom.
I don't understand. Don't talk to my agent. No. We have nothing in common, okay? Clearly, I love space. I spent 3 years up there, okay? Tons of masturbation with different alien species. You're not even a good enough podcast host to ask me about alien species and my semen, okay? You can't even do that. Kid, why the hell do you have me on this ridiculous show?
Well,
I couldn't think of one good reason
why
why am I sitting here?
I have this jar of your semen, and my mom, 7 years ago when you were still on Earth, she met you in that bar in Florida, and I think that you might be my papa.
The most concerning part of all of this to me is that you're 7 years old.
Yeah, I can't really read too well, and my mom said that my dad was an astronaut, and then I cried a lot because you got stuck in space.
You are my 7-year-old son, and you have spent all this time forming a podcast so you could get in touch with me, and you had this jar of my semen from I don't know how long ago. It's kind of looks like it's no, son, don't listen. Can I have that actually real quick? I'm just gonna take it. Okay, we'll save that.
Dad.
I hold on. Stop with the dad shit for a second. I can call you son. I'm the astronaut. I'm the adult here. But it is just amazing to me that you spent all this time saving my semen collection, making a podcast, trying to learn as little as you could about space, but you tried your best, all to get me here so we could reconnect as father and son?
Yeah, I got the idea from this movie called The Parent Trap, and I just figured, like, if you were my parent, that I should trap you. So I think you're trapped now, right?
Here's the thing, kid. I appreciate you putting in all this effort, okay? I appreciate you saving all the semen. But I got some news for you, okay? I said earlier that I was going back. Hate to break it to you, kid, but me and my cum, going back up to space in 2 days.
All right. And that is where we leave off.
A cliffhanger ending?
I gave it a little bit of extra time just because we did lose, I think, a minute or so. I forgot to stop it.
Okay, that's fair.
When
Sorry,
it cut out.
I'm terrible.
I wanted it
Yeah,
to.
you should have done a better job at your podcast, kid.
Wow.
What a cliffhanger
and
ending.
what a twist a twist ending. I'd say
twist
this
and
kid
a cliffhanger.
Well, this kid went through so much trouble to reconnect with you, and I mean, you were kind of a dick.
The astronaut doesn't
you know?
give a
If
shit.
I started off this podcast kind of being pissed off at the kid, but at the end of it, I was rooting for him.
What a roller coaster ride.
Honestly, if I was the astronaut, I would have kissed the child on the lips. So,
Are you just trying to get Ross to make out with you?
I mean, if you know what I mean.
I mean, we can get back in character if you'd like. Wow.
Papa.
What a, see? Papa. See, that, folks, that's great improv, okay? We just told such a heartfelt story with twists and turns aplenty. I mean, yeah, you do start out kind of disliking the kid.
Yeah.
Right? You really do. I mean, what's he doing with this podcast? You got this astronaut. He's been up by himself because NASA forgot to send anyone. Forgot to send anyone else with him.
I'm gonna be honest. I can't wait to get home and tell my wife, like, "Oh, what'd you do on the podcast?" I'm like, "I pretended to be a 7-year-old boy."
And I found my astronaut
And then
dad.
I pretended to be a 14-year-old boy.
Yes, a 14-year-old Russian boy.
I found my astronaut dad who took back his jar of all my brothers and sisters.
Oh my gosh. And
So,
so
Leah, yeah, I think...
the results are in, my friends.
God.
Oh, no.
So
Bum, bum.
I totally forgot about the points.
I kind
for
of forgot
last,
about
like,
the points,
5
too. I was really tied up in the whole space story. Leah, who won?
it's a tie.
Shit, a tie?
A tie. I was kind of hoping. I tried to play a lot of games in hopes that it would like not be a tie, and that we would have a winner and a loser. But on this episode, I guess the points don't
Oh, how
matter.
How dare you? Okay, this, I believe, is the first tie in Whose Life history, okay? So this is an unprecedented event. What are you cheering for?
You know who won? All
They
you
did.
folks out there.
They
That is
did.
out there watching
Everybody,
right now.
And
they
see.
all won. Those were the real winners. Look, a twist cliffhanger ending that kind of ended on a sad note, but look, everybody still wins in the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Here's what we'll do. We're either going to leave it at that and everybody at home wins who's listening and watching this, or Leah, I'm going to give you the power of all power. You are the improv host for this episode. You can determine whether we call it and it ends in a tie or we go into a sudden death round.
Well, I've got to go with sun and death.
Sun
That's
and
right.
death. Okay, sun and death.
Oh,
Sun
God,
and
that
death.
sounds way worse.
And,
We
and
have to- I don't
actually,
know if
that
this
will
setup
be
will work out
that will
outside.
be our prompt. So, sun, death. You are the Grim Reaper, and you are the Grim Reaper's son. We're just going to go with paternity. That is going to be the theme of this entire episode, I think. And the game that we are going to play for this sudden death match. Let me look at my favorite here.
I can't believe we left that last story on a cliffhanger and this is the most sudden of sudden death there could be. We literally have entirely new roles.
We are going to be doing questions only. And so, this is the Grim Reaper is interviewing his son about taking over the family business.
On his podcast.
On his podcast.
This is a big deal. Now, I'm assuming podcasting is part of the family business.
I do it in my off time between dying and
Yeah.
You got to guide people to the over the Rainbow Bridge, but then there's a lot of spare time. I think
Okay.
I
like that.
and he's not a knitting kind of guy. I feel like
Okay.
So
Daddy Grim
questions
and
only,
Grim Jr. Okay.
son and death.
And you are interviewing me on your podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, questions only and go.
Hello, welcome back to the Death Talk podcast. I'm here with my son, and son, I just want to ask you, how are you feeling about taking over the old family business?
Why are you talking through a walkie-talkie, Pops?
You don't know that I love talking through a walkie-talkie?
Does this have something to do with the whole Grim Reaper thing?
Oh, does this have something to do with the whole Grim Reaper thing?
Why you gotta mimic me like that?
Ross wins.
Ross wins. That didn't get very far at all. But you know what? We were already going over a little bit time-wise.
Could have been any two people.
We're going to put the tally. We're
Literally the amount of time that took, you could have been like, all right, Taylor, you're Taylor. Ross, you're Ross. You're interviewing Ross. Go.
And I still would have been like, Ross, so we're on the Ross podcast. What's it like being Ross?
What's it like to be Ross?
Well, now, a crazier turn of events. The first ever sudden death round here on the show. So now the official points are in. Leah, remind us who won.
It's you, Ross.
It's me.
Well, now they all lose. So I hope you feel
They're happy for me. They're happy for me.
Oh, shit.
Okay, all right, calm down, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it. I really do appreciate the applause. Wow, what a crazy! I really want to. One, I am a little bit interested in the Grim Reaper and Grim Reaper's son podcast.
Yeah,
because that didn't seem like they were on the same page at all.
No, I mean, could they be?
But two, I really want to know what would have happened to the astronaut and the child. That's where
Someone
where my
make a
head is
movie.
going.
Ross,
Yeah.
make a movie.
Okay, that is my next script. My next script has been made. This show is actually just a script writing show for me to find ideas because I have ran out.
TN,
Yeah.
trademark.
Yeah.
Are you trademarking
I
it and I
trademark
can't
it.
have it anymore?
No.
You gotta pay her to make your movie.
Can you work for her now?
Yes.
Okay, folks. Well, I thought I had a podcast, and this was going to be another episode of it, but I got to kind of figure out the legality of things now because Leah has trademarked some of my biggest ideas away from me now. So, guys, as we say goodbye, Taylor, would you like anybody to find you on the internet? Where can they do so, if so?
Yes, I'm at Amelia Earhart 69. There's a hyphen in there. Guess where it is? Yeah, that's where you can find me.
It's between the A and the M, isn't it?
That's what she said.
In a minute. Leah, you got anything to say? If you'd like anybody to find you around the internet, where can they do so?
Well, I'm on social media. That's where you can find me.
You can find
You
her
can
there.
find me right here.
Or right here.
Right here.
On the Whose Life Is It Anyway podcast.
That's right.
These mics have dirty breath on them now. 2 more seasons. 2 more?
I don't know, maybe more.